Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Market Voice. Recently, we concluded one series on who will win. We saw there are 5 essentials for anyone to win in the battlefield, and the same 5 essentials can be applied to our trading activities also, and we can definitely be in the race for long once we inculcate those 5 characteristics. Today we are seeing one another very interesting phrase written by SunTzu in his same book, The Art of War. Very important phrase wherein the SunTzu says, if you know the enemy and know yourself, once you know the enemy and you know who you are, then you need not fear the result of 100 battles. See the way he beautifully puts, if you have to win the battles, then you need to not only know the enemy, you need to know yourself also. He continues, if you know yourself but not the enemy, you know who you are, you know your strengths, you know your weaknesses, but you don't know or you are not able to assess the enemy's strengths and weaknesses and his territory and terrain, then for every victory you gain, you will also suffer a defeat, which means you have 50-50 chance of making anything good. But the third point is very interesting. If you neither know the enemy nor yourself, then you will succumb in every battle. So these 3 phrases are very important, not just for battlefield, for our markets also. Here SunTzu talks of knowing yourself and knowing the enemy, knowing your strengths and weaknesses, knowing your resources, knowing your craftsmanship, and knowing your skills and experience in the warfield, and the same parameters you need to map it to the enemy and also know those things. When it comes to the market, here when it comes to the trading activities, you should know yourself and you should know the market, how it functions. There is no enemy here, there are only other market participants, and it is a zero-sum game. So if you have to win, somebody else has to lose, and your strategies you need to prepare very well. See, one thing you need to understand here, one side of the story is very clear. In case of war, what happens? You will know more of yourself, but you will not know the enemy's strengths, weaknesses, his terrain, his abilities, and other his resources, how much he can deploy, what kind of weapons he has got, what kind of warfield strategies he can do. So we will not have a very clear indication of the enemy. When it comes to the market, we can very well say market knows everything. In the sense, market is superior, so we have to work more on our own skills. We need not know what will the market do, but what we will do whenever what the market does is what we have to know. In fact, I have been telling this aspect, don't worry about what the market does. Do you know what you will do when market does something? This is very important. Here you need to, you cannot you just have to go with a single line. Market is efficient, market is supreme, market knows everything, market is like a computerized chess player. So beating that with a human brain, with our limited resources, limited capital, limited skill set, limited information, limited ability to execute, with all of these things we need to work more on our side itself. So the phrase, if you know the enemy and know yourself, then you don't have to worry about any battles. Here also he is not saying you will win 100% of the battles, but what SunTzu is trying to say is, you even if you fight 100 battles, you don't have to worry about losses or victory, because you will eventually do well if you know yourself and if you know the enemy. So if you know how the market functions and if you know what kind of composition you are made up of, then you can sync yourself well with the market and then eventually make some decent returns over a period of time. If you know if you know only yourself, you know what kind of temperament you have, what kind of resources you have, what kind of skills you have, you know only from your point of view, but you don't know what it takes in the market. If you don't know how to play the market rules, you need to play the market rules, then only you will be able to make something. So if you don't know that part, but you know yourself well, you know your limitations, so you are quick enough in exiting at stop losses, quick enough in taking the profits, so you will do well. But there is a 50-50 chances of sometimes you make, sometimes you lose, sometimes you make, sometimes you lose, and eventually you will be more or less around the same level with 50% of probability. But the real blunder will be when you neither know the market and you neither know yourself. You are not having the awareness or education about the market and how it functions, nor you have any care or responsibility towards your own funds, then obviously market will be very ruthless, and you will eventually, not even eventually, very soon you will be shown your place in the market. So it is very important, we need to keep these three things in our mind: knowing the enemy and knowing yourself. That is the best combination. At least knowing yourself, and even when you don't know the market, because markets are too dynamic and you may not know all aspects of markets functioning until unless you spend sufficient amount of time. Even before, that means what? Even before you try to understand the complete gamut of the market's behavior or functions, you should at least to a large extent know about yourself, so that at least you will come to the 50% probability. Even if you know little bit about the market with little experience, but if you are aware about yourself to a large extent, you can still survive, and eventually you will gain experience on how the market functions. Don't do the blunder of entering into the market without knowing yourself nor the market functioning aspects. So that is with respect to today's words or wisdom from the book The Art of War, and the way we can map it to our trading activities. A beautiful book. The more we read, the more insights we get, the more helps us to view the market very differently. Do read literatures from other areas also, not just from the finance point of view or not just from the market point of view. Have a wide ranging mindset, so that somewhere some wisdom read somewhere or experience somewhere can help you in your trading activities also. So having said that, let us once again meet tomorrow with a new topic. Until then, Om Swasti.